Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me here at the Atlanta News First Alert Desk. I am Savannah Louie. We've got your top stories for the Atlanta metro area. Thanks so much again for joining us here on this Friday night. And we are just going to get straight to it because I know we all have places to go, people to see, but it's important that we get our headlines in real quick. All right, I want to start off with a story that is incredibly concerning for anyone who lives in the Fulton County area, although it does come with a little bit of relief. There have been 3 arrests made in a human trafficking investigation out of Roswell. I'm going to go ahead and show you the 3 people who have been arrested right here. They are 41-year-old Yan Lin, 56-year-old Wei Cheng Huang, and 36-year-old Lin Chen. They all face charges of racketeering, sex trafficking, and labor trafficking. That's according to police. And they are also saying additional arrests are expected. Now, all of this is in connection to a number of Metro Atlanta massage parlors. Again, this is according to the Roswell Police Department. We heard earlier today that the operation ended on Wednesday when more than 70 officers searched 10 different locations believed to have supported human trafficking in Roswell, Johns Creek, Sandy Springs, and Atlanta. There are a list of spas that were involved. We have those listed at atlantanewsfirst.com. You can also find it at on our Atlanta News First app. Right now, though, those spas that were involved are now closed, and the people who are victims, who have been victims in this human trafficking and prostitution network here, those victims have been partnered with support services to help them through this really difficult time as they try to recover from this awful incident. All right, I do want to move straight along here to a story out of Norcross earlier today. We are getting word that there was an officer-involved shooting in Norcross earlier this morning. Our reporter, Brittany Ford, spent the entire day out at that scene near an apartment complex where all of this unfolded. She got the latest answers. She spoke to neighbors who live in that area. And we're going to let her take it from here. I do want to warn you, I believe just before we hopped on this evening, I noticed that there were some audio issues, so just be aware of that. But I think Brittany does a really good job at explaining what exactly we know so far at this point, so I'm going to let her take it from here.
Cell phone video captures the aftermath of an officer-involved shooting around 6:30 Friday morning at the Bloom at Dawson apartments near Norcross, a time neighbors describe as rush hour in this community.
No, this is a working area. Most people at 6 a.m. are leaving out. They're up, they're leaving out for work. These are hardworking people.
A 911 call that came from a woman calling about her 16-year-old son. When police arrived, they found the teen in the parking lot. That turned into a foot chase followed by gunfire. Investigators say officers fired back, striking him in the leg. And what you see there in that video are SWAT medics who quickly rendered aid. Police also recovered a second handgun they believe was also in the boy's possession. Neighbors relieved it didn't end in tragedy.
We're happy that no one was killed.
That was our Brittany Ford reporting. It also tells us that the investigation is ongoing. It's very normal for the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to get involved whenever there is an officer-involved shooting here in the Metro Atlanta or in Georgia in general. So we'll bring you all the latest if there are any pressing updates on that story as well. I do want to move to another story here, which is pretty remarkable. We're learning that a Georgia man has been exonerated after about 2 decades behind bars. He was convicted of a person's murder. We'll go ahead and show you this man right here, standing in the center. Joey Watkins. Back in 2001, Joey was found guilty of murder in the January 2000 death of a man named Isaac Dawkins. Joey was just a young man at the time. We're told that the victim, Isaac, was reportedly found along a busy highway near Rome in his truck with a gunshot wound to the head. Watkins was sentenced to life in prison. According to the Georgia Innocence Project, authorities identified Watkins as a friend and and a friend as suspects as they were connecting them to a small blue Honda, which was seen engaging in aggressive driving. And Watkins was accused of being behind the wheel. He was eventually charged with murder despite having an alibi that was later confirmed by cell phone records. Now, with the help of the Georgia Innocence Project, which is a group that works to exonerate people here in Georgia, Watkins' case was reviewed. He is now a free man. Something I thought was really interesting here was that this whole case was really brought to light by a podcast episode, the podcast Undisclosed. They did a story on Joey, a podcast on Joey, and that really brought it attention, which got more eyes on it eventually. More people looking at this case and making Joey a free man today. Guys, we got a great final story for you tonight, one that I'm excited about, and if you're living in Atlanta right now, you need to check this out. This is happening this weekend. Atlanta Streets Alive is returning. All right, so quick heads up for anyone who lives in the downtown or midtown area here in Atlanta. There are going to be road closures. Here you go. We're pulling that up for you here. You can see Peachtree. Part of Peachtree is going to be closed to traffic on Sunday. It's about 3 miles from 14th Street in Midtown down to Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. Only a select few cross streets will remain open for vehicle traffic, and this is all happening from 1 to 5 p.m. If you'd like, which I think you should, it's a great weekend to be outdoors. The community is encouraged to grab a bike, a scooter, or maybe your best pair of tennis shoes. Go out there for a little walk and enjoy one of Atlanta's most famous streets without worrying about any cars. There's going to be music, food, and activities as well. Organizers say the free event is all about connecting people and neighborhoods, supporting local businesses, and promoting sustainable transportation. And by the way, this is the first time in years that Atlanta Streets Alive is returning to Peachtree Street. We know that it was canceled previously due to COVID. So this is a really exciting time for not only people who live in the area, but businesses as well who are hoping to maybe meet some new people, some new customers. A lot of fun stuff for Atlanta Streets Alive. And you really couldn't have asked for a better week for it. I'm going to show you a picture now. You can't tell from this live look here over at the Lake Lanier, but it is a gorgeous weekend here in Metro Atlanta. We've got an amazing forecast brought to you by our meteorologist, Patrick Pete. And Patrick, I already know you're going to be out there, maybe not at Atlanta Streets Alive, but you're going to be out there having some fun this weekend, taking advantage of the beautiful weather.
Absolutely, and I recommend that all of you do the same. This is a very nice stretch of weather. We know that weather changes frequently and often around here, and with this nice dry stretch that we have, it's going to be imperative that you get out and enjoy it. Happy Friday. Hopefully you're all having a fantastic evening. I know that it's Friday, so y'all are probably trying to do other stuff. Let me get you to what you came here for, and that's the forecast. These numbers are going to continue to trend in very positive territory. We're talking about gorgeous weather, dry and comfortable for the afternoon. We're watching some rain opportunities next week. They aren't overwhelming. They're not looking terribly impressive. We may even get to drop the rain chance on Tuesday because it just looks like the best chance for moisture moving in is Wednesday and Thursday, but not really expecting much out of that as it stands now. But we're keeping an eye on the tropics because Ophelia has developed, and there's another system that could develop as well. Meanwhile, beautiful dry skies, and with Ophelia off to the east, that's really going to help funnel in some drier air into the region. So it's going to feel amazing out there. It's going to be hard to find clouds in our area as well tomorrow. So lots going on in town tomorrow. There's the Race for Research. It's a brain cancer 5K that's early in the morning at Atlantic Station starting at about 6:30. Gorgeous weather, low to mid 60s as that race is getting started. And your brunch forecast has us in the mid to upper 70s for the early part of the afternoon, eventually getting into the 80s for a few hours. And then there's a nice little concert going on tomorrow night. I have Neo, Mario, Pleasure P. They're all hitting the stage at 7:30 at Chastain Park. And it's going to be the perfect evening to be outside. So green light. And continue that outdoor feeling all weekend. There's the Georgia State Fair on Sunday as well as the Atlanta Seafood and Caribbean Music Festival at Piedmont Park. And then the forecast is looking bright for that as well. 76 degrees at lunchtime when this is really getting going, getting into the mid 80s as we head into the afternoon. And that gorgeous weather continues into next week, but then we bring in some clouds, we bring in a little bit of moisture, and those temperatures drop a little bit. We'll be in the upper 70s Wednesday and Thursday afternoon, but back into the 80s by Friday. Let's talk about Ophelia. As of the 8 o'clock hour, those winds still sustained at 70 miles per hour. There's a very low end opportunity for this to become a hurricane before landfall. We're going to watch. Landfall is pretty imminent. We expect that to happen overnight, moving into coastal North Carolina. But that moisture is going to lift all the way to the north as the system weakens over land, expecting rain to reach as far north as New England. Matter of fact, a tropical storm warning is in effect from Delaware all the way down to North Carolina. So they'll see a significant amount of rain, 3 to 5 inches widespread. Some areas will get a little bit more than that. And then also we're talking about easily 2 to 4 feet of storm surge, and that may have been revised up with this last advisory to 3 to 5. So we'll watch for that. I think that this is going to be impactful to those folks, but this is going to be a milder event, which is great news. And then we're also keeping an eye out into the open Atlantic. We'll have an update on that for you coming up tonight on Atlanta News First at 11. I want to get you back to the 7-day forecast so that you can do your screenshots and make your plans to be outdoors all weekend. And then we'll be watching for those low-end rain chances next week. You guys have a fantastic Friday and a happy weekend.